Welcome to Making Chips. We believe and we know that manufacturing is challenging, but if you are connected to a community of leaders, you can elevate your skills, solve your problems, and hopefully grow your business. I'm your host, Jim Carr, and I'm joined in our remote studio location today in Santa Fe Springs, California, with my good friend, co-host, 5 years,
the brains behind the organization.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Jason J.Z. Zenger.
Hey, Jim. How you doing?
I'm okay.
We're
I'm
here
good.
in L.A. County still.
Yeah, we are, and I'm having a great time. We're meeting so many cool people. You know what?
It's been great.
You know what is awesome about this community of people? Everyone's here to help elevate the industry together.
Yeah, it's very similar to Out By Us.
I think it's a worldwide community of makers that
manufacturing leaders.
Yeah, manufacturing leaders. We really want to help each other and elevate ourselves to the next level and solve the problems together. Just like we always say, it's part of our mantra and our mission of why we started the podcast in the first place.
Absolutely.
So it's been a great experience so far. Again, shout out to Katie from the NTMA LA for inviting us here today and letting us meet and interview these fantastic guests. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the high cost of a college education, and let's compare that to what an education would be like in CNC machining.
Yeah, I mean, CNC machining is the highest paying job that you can get without a college education. That's my understanding. And we want to talk about how we can bring more people into this industry, because I think it's silly not to at least consider this industry if college isn't your choice.
But some people,
or your privilege.
It's not for everybody, right?
No, of course not.
Just like college isn't for everybody, manufacturing isn't for everybody.
Yeah, you got to have some
well.
basic skills, some math skills, some, understanding of computers now. So
that's huge. Mechanical aptitude, and just fundamentals of the industry. But before we, move on and introduce our guests, like we always do every week, tell the Metalworking Nation what's going on at Zenger's Industrial or Black Industrial.
Things are moving forward. It's kind of funny. I just checked my email and things. I got a email.
How many did you have?
Well, I don't always go through all my emails, as you know. I don't read any.
Oh yeah, I do know. I do know that.
But I just saw an email come through from the attorney that's working on our succession planning, and what he said in the last email was that he's accepting the changes that I want to make to the contract. So I think
the attorney is, or your dad is.
Well, we have an attorney that's, he's representing both of us.
Okay.
And I think we finally come to an agreement on things. So I think we're 99.9% done with the contract, and so I hopefully this month I'll be ready to sign the document and start buying out the company for my dad. So that'll be good.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm overpaying a little bit, just a little bit, but that's okay. It's for Dad.
You're never going to be happy. Don't
Dad
cry.
gave me
Please
a lot
don't cry.
No, I'm not
Please
crying.
Don't cry.
I'm not crying.
Okay,
I'm not crying.
Be a big boy.
Dad gave me a lot of opportunities. He gave me a lot of.
He sure did.
He gave me this opportunity to work on making chips. I mean, he could have gone to me and said, "You know what? If you want to do this making chips thing, do it on your own time." No, he could have.
He could have,
yeah. And he didn't. And so he's given me a lot of rope, and so it's okay. I want my parents to, be happy in their retirement and everything. So we're gonna move on ahead with this.
You're a good son, Jason Zenger.
I try.
Yes,
I've got
good
parents and good other people around me. So it's a good thing.
I'm happy to hear that.
So you need to figure that out for your.
I know. Well,
too.
It's funny. Just before we hit the record button, 5 minutes and 7 seconds ago, my son Ryan, as everyone knows, is my operations manager back at Carr in Chicago, and I just got a text from him, and I'm thinking, man, this kid is really stepping it up. I felt really bad about leaving them in the firestorm that I left them in.
I could do this without you. It's fine. You could have stayed.
Dude, if you feel you can do it without me, you're more than welcome to.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, I know you are. But it's funny if you empower the people that you work with, they're going to take it and they're going to move to the next level. And I'm really happy with what I'm hearing that's happening already in just the short 23 hours that I've been.
Well, then why don't you start giving him some of those tasks that
I'm
keep
a little,
bugging you
I'm
down?
a little scared.
I think you're a little bit of a control freak.
Actually, there's no question
I could probably empathize with Ryan a little bit since we are in business together, and I know that you are a control freak. It's just that I can say no to you. He doesn't really probably have that option.
I control his finances.
Exactly.
So no, he
You
better
can't tell me what to
he
do,
better be
Jim.
careful about what he says to me.
Exactly.
But
maybe you should put him into that
But
integrator role.
I do, tell him when he's doing well because he's doing well.
Yeah, good.
And it's
your-
refreshing.
Make
It's
him your integrator. Get out
yeah.
of that. Get out of that
he's
role.
he's definitely not a visionary. He's definitely an integrator. But anyway, you want to tell the people, the Metalworking Nation, maybe our guests that are sitting here waiting for us to introduce them. What is the Boring Bar? What the hell is the Boring Bar?
Well, you don't have to swear.
I
First
know.
of all.
Well, I didn't. Heck.
And the Boring Bar is our newsletter that we send out once a week, and it's more than just the podcast. So we send out information when a podcast first releases, but we also have a lot of original articles that we write during the Boring Bar, and it's just another perspective on the manufacturing industry. It's to be quite honest, Jim and I have nothing to do with it. We only do the podcast, but there's a lot of other content that comes out of making
it's relevant. It's connected, right? It's connected information about the pod. So the podcast is the fundamental part of
right.
that. Of
And
the
then
Boring Bar for that.
other content is written related to what we discuss.
Right.
So like maybe expanding a topic or something like that in the written form.
And people can get links to all the guests that are on
Exactly.
the show for that particular week. How do they subscribe to the Boring Bar?
So you're going to text CHIPS, CHIPS, to 38470.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Super easy peasy. Yep. Yeah.
Chips.
Was that your idea?
Probably. No,
Yeah,
actually, this is one of the few ideas that wasn't mine.
Okay. Well, whoever did it, kudos to them. That's easy.
Yep.
They don't have to enter an email address. They
No.
just got to put in 5 small letters, right?
Correct. CHIPS.
Chips.
38470.
You got it. Cool.
So what do we got for manufacturing news?
So, we're going to be talking about college and what it costs nowadays. So I found an article in Forbes that's titled "Price of College Increasing Almost 8 Times Faster Than Wages." I mean, you can imagine. I saw that headline and I'm like, wow, that's craziness.
Well, it almost makes me, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a
You're in trouble, dude. You have 4 kids.
It almost makes me like sick to my stomach, and it's sickening.
Yeah.
That, how much tuition has gone up. It really is. So
They say that student loans make up the largest chunk of U.S. non-housing debt. That in quarter 1/18, the total amount was 1.47. Is that trillion dollars?
yeah, and the solution is not that college should be free. The solution is that we have too many professors making too much money. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it.
You did.
I think that more of that money should
Do
go
we
to
have to edit that out?
No, we don't.
Okay.
I think more of that money should go to the high school teachers and the grade school teachers are probably teaching more applicable skills than the colleges are.
Okay, so
And that doesn't go for all of it.
but you went to
because,
college.
Yeah,
Why did your parents choose to
I went
do
to
that?
college to become an engineer.
Okay.
So I was in the engineering school, but what I'm talking about is that there's a lot of, just a lot of kids that are getting educations in areas that are just inconsequential to their future. And it's ridiculous. It really is. I mean,
So do you
I'm
think that
sorry.
these kids are going to college just to party for 4 years?
Oh,
Or-
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
a lot of
either
them
their
are.
mom and dad are paying for that tuition
That's
and
another
room and
I didn't think about
boards,
that, but that's another problem.
and
yeah.
they're paying for that,
Yeah,
and then they
absolutely.
come out with a degree that really doesn't
do anything.
doesn't do anything,
No.
and they learned how to drink a 12-pack of beer in 60 minutes.
And they learn skills that are just not going to be useful.
Yeah. Versus what we're going to talk about today,
Yeah.
about how you can apply a really short amount of time, effort, and money, and maybe the employer would even pay for that.
Yeah, and you have no debt, and you're making good money, and you have a job where you're creating things, and you're learning, and you're getting into robotics and computers and data and all that other kind of fun stuff.
Sounds like a ray of sunshine to me.
Right.
Yeah. But again, college isn't for everybody, and neither is manufacturing.
Right.
So
We need less political science majors.
I agree with that. So I could go on more about the
Yeah,
article,
me too.
but it's
I'll step off my soapbox.
yeah. You better stop now while you're ahead. But did you want to introduce our guest? Because
would love
I'd really like to. I have so many questions for them. To
Hopefully I didn't kill the mood too much, but yeah, I will definitely introduce our guests. So we have, as Jim mentioned, we're at the NTMA of LA, and we have two gentlemen that I'm going to introduce, and then they're going to tell us a little bit more about what they do. So our first guest is Preisendanz. He's a trainer at the NTMA Training Centers. Our second guest is Lee Norton, who's a board member at the California Manufacturing Workforce Foundation. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So we're at an NTMA LA networking event.
We
just
are.
Just a bunch of, let's just say we're having a glass
Jason,
of wine. There's a
we're
bunch
not.
of.
There's no wine.
I know we're pretending.
We're not doing any of that right now. We're interviewing.
No, we're just pretending,
Yeah.
Jim, for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll try and pretend.
We
because you
we
said
have a
wine
beer.
and I went,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Yeah,
where's the
Jim,
wine?
Don't get excited.
I'm missing out on something here.
Don't get excited.
No.
We've got a beer or wine or a water, whatever your drink of choice is. And somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, Kurt, what do you do here?"
Well, basically, I'm director of training. What I do is I oversee the instructors as far as the program goes. Make sure that all the instructors have everything they need. I promote the school. I just do just about everything I can.
So you're making sure that student who walks in the door doesn't know anything about machining. He walks out the door with a job offer.
Oh, absolutely.
And a great future.
Oh, yeah. This school is incredible.
That's great.
I've been machining since 1974, and when I started working here, I was in awe of just the success that our students have, and you guys said some interesting things about college and about students coming out of high school, and they're pushed to the point of going to universities, and it's just terrible. We get graduates with degrees in history, can't find a job, and they come through this program. They start working after 7 months. And just I go to job fairs or I go to the high school career fairs, and there's a lot of parents behind them that don't understand. Especially the moms with their kids, and they see our tables at trade school, and they're kind of, this is not for my son. Really?
Because they don't know anything about it.
They don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And I go to high schools in front of 600 seniors and do a presentation. Does anybody know what a machinist is? Not one hand goes up.
Wow.
When I went to school, there was shop class.
Yeah.
Everyone knew what a machinist is.
You're absolutely right. So, Lee, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Give us your 60 to 90-second bio elevator pitch. Tell us everything you know about manufacturing in 90 seconds and your experience with it.
Hey, thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Jason, for letting me be here today. I am a board member for a foundation called the California Manufacturing Workforce Foundation. We are a 501c3 charity, and we use our donations to provide tuition and expense funding for currently enrolled students on technical tracks in community colleges and technical schools. And we were founded in 2017 with a lot of help from the Los Angeles chapter of the National Tooling and Machining Association. At the time, a few of the board members did a lot of work to get this 501c3 charity set up, because the biggest challenge we were finding for all of our members at that time was finding skilled people to hire to fill all of the open positions that we had at our companies. So, we set up this foundation so that we could provide scholarships to people wanting to pursue careers in manufacturing and support them in that, while at the same time solving one of the biggest problems that manufacturers in California have.
I agree.
Great. Before Jim interrupted you, you were really on a great trajectory.
I know. I'm trying to pull
Jim,
it back a little bit.
Go ahead with what you were saying, because I think you were definitely moving in the right direction.
And I apologize for that.
Well, I just think that a lot of teachers and parents are pushing their kids for four-year universities, thinking that the trade school is not for their little kid. And then, you know what's funny? Because they'll come back later and say, I have a son that this would be good for him. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
I don't know what that
Yeah.
means. That
Is
means
it mean
it was,
'cause
so
he's-
this one is
he's
just
the
not
trouble.
quite.
He's the troublemaker, and they
Well-
want. I don't know. I mean, and I understand what you're saying, and I'm going to throw my wife under the bus a little bit because she doesn't want to listen to me on the podcast. Jim and I have talked about.
My
his
wife doesn't listen
His
to the
wife doesn't
podcast.
listen either.
Does she?
But-
Do her eyes glaze over when you start talking
Yeah, pretty much.
manufacturing?
So my wife would come from the standpoint of my kids are going to go to college, and it's almost like, and I don't think my wife is any different than a lot of people out there, where it's kind of a pride thing. It's like, I want to be able to tell my friends that my kids went to college. Am I right?
Well, do you think that the parents think, well, my kid didn't make it because he didn't go to college. He just went into a trade right away.
They might think lesser, and
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. I mean,
it's
instead
not
of
at all
saying,
the way it
like
is
my
anymore.
kid's doing really well, he's working with robots, he's programming machines. I mean, I think that you should be able to stand tall to say that
Well,
that's
I
what you
think,
do.
I think here, especially in the States, the people are conditioned to think that way. You go to Europe, and a kid gets out of high school, if you're in a trade or you're in a 4-year university, it doesn't look any different to a parent. It's
That's
like,
correct.
this is a skill set. My dad was migrated from Germany. He's got his apprenticeship in Germany from Siemens Pacesetter, came over here, opened up a machine shop, and that's how I started working for him.
Oh, you're kidding.
So he
and-
was an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he went and he got it, and he got himself a shop, and the next thing you know, it took off, and I was in the trade. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a machinist. I think I wanted to be a rock star for many years.
I did
But
too.
it didn't happen, did it? But the whole thing is that finally, after a few years, I said, well, I guess I'm pretty good at this. So I continued it. And I put both of my kids in this program.
Oh, you
My
did?
daughter
That's
and my
awesome.
son.
Awesome.
And, as a dad, I
Yeah.
would never put a child of mine in a program I didn't believe in or a trade that I didn't believe in. And so they're both
doing
on-
well now.
They're doing excellent. My daughter just moved to Texas last week because of the jobs out there, and the housing is cheaper and everything. But she landed a job in an instant. Just made some phone calls.
And what is she doing?
She's actually doing diamond turning.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
That's
So
really
she got in,
niche.
yeah.
That's
Her first
niche.
job out of NTMA was that she was growing sapphires, so they were using that for the lenses, for tracking devices, things of that nature.
Okay, and how about your son?
He's working for a defense contractor out in Paris, and
Oh.
he's been out for about 5 or 6 years, live tooling, multi-axis machines. Oh, yeah, it's just, he shows me pictures of stuff he makes now. It's like, wow. And you know what? They didn't go to college,
Right.
and I am more proud of them for they're making bank, and they
I'm
have
sure they
hardly
are.
any loan to pay back.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
yeah.
fantastic. And what about you, Lee? What's your take on the skills gap that we have going on right now?
Well, I'll talk a little out of both sides of my mouth here. My son, he works in a machine shop. He's 18 years old and just graduated college, or just graduated high school. But he's also going to college because he wants to learn about business, because he really wants to own his own machine shop and his
That's
own
great.
manufacturing
That's
company.
awesome.
And I'm fully supportive of that. I think it's wonderful, everything that he's learning now
But he's got
in
an
that
objective
trade.
going into college. He's saying, I want to learn business skills so that I could do this in the future. He's not just going there to, have a good time.
Absolutely.
And
He's
learn,
got a
and
goal
learn
in mind.
education that doesn't have any foundation. So that's good that he's doing that.
Yes, absolutely. We're very proud of him, and our daughter is wanting to go into engineering, and she's his twin, so she's also just graduated high school and continuing her education. But as far as the skills gap goes, I don't think there's enough knowledge happening with young people to let them know about the opportunities that exist in manufacturing. There's a lot of good jobs, career kind of jobs, that are available in manufacturing, and nobody knows about it.
Wait, is it a secret? Where are we dropping the ball on
Well,
this?
I think I go back to when I was growing up, and it happened like in the movies. When I was a kid, that movie came out with Richard Gere where he was in that small town, An Officer and a Gentleman.
Yes,
And
I
it's
remember
like,
that.
if the hero of the movie, if she doesn't, make things work in her relationship, then she's going to be doomed to a life of factory work in her small town. And wouldn't that just be the worst thing ever? Or that other movie with Eminem called 8 Mile, where, if he doesn't accomplish his goal and make it as a rap star, he's going to be doomed to a life of factory work in Detroit, Michigan, and wouldn't that just be the worst thing that ever happened to anybody,
Well,
right?
and it just doesn't look like that dirty job anymore, and we really need to fix that. I mean, you go to like in Detroit, you go to an auto manufacturer, and it's all robotics. I mean, it's different than that.
So do you think we talk a lot about the skills gap, and do you think it's as grave of an issue as everyone is portraying it, or the media, or all of us manufacturing owners? I mean, you both are very ingrained in seeing the training firsthand. Is it a serious problem?
No, I think that there's a shortage, definitely, but I do believe that there's a light to this whole thing, because I think a lot of people are starting to realize of just the tons of jobs that are in machining and manufacturing, that this is starting to look a little better. I think a lot of parents are now looking at their loans that their students, that their children, went to college, and now they have to pay back this huge loan and they don't have a job. I think that's becoming like, wow, this might not be such a good idea. So I think they're looking at trades a lot harder. I think that the high schools are starting to turn a little bit, because whenever I do a presentation in a high school, the teachers are always warm and they say, man, this is needed.
So what does that presentation look like? So
my presentation for at the high school, basically, I was I'm supposed to be there to kind of sell the school, right? I'm giving them information at this point because they don't know. So I'm just giving them videos of, like you're saying, old school World War II factory, and then modern day machine shop, and how that whole thing is, and how there's men and women in manufacturing, not just men.
No, right.
Rosie the Riveter, that whole thing happened in World War II. They were the machinists.
And do you think that, so if you think about that business owner in the middle of, Nebraska, or the middle of Oklahoma, or in the suburbs of Chicago, or, California, could they make that same presentation to their high school if they wanted to change that perception? I feel like we almost
should we?
Well, I think we should. I feel like we need to see almost like a wave of manufacturing leaders out there contacting their high school and saying, I want to present this opportunity to the students there. I mean, could they make that presentation that you do?
They could. I mean, I think if business owners and machining don't get involved, then we're going to have a little bit of a problem. But I think that from what I can see, most machine shops they like to give back. And I think that I think they could do that if they really wanted to. And I think NTMA and our shops that hire from us, they are that kind of company. So, and we need to shine a light on this whole thing, because there's so many jobs. We get calls for more students, and we don't have enough students. There's just that many jobs out there.
I'm glad that you talk about how much the manufacturers in California want to give back, and that's exactly how our foundation was set up. It's set up by shop owners that want to solve their largest problem, which is creating a skilled workforce for the future of our industry. And there's some really great rewards that happen through supporting a foundation like ours and working for workforce development. And some of those are, it helps to prevent foreign outsourcing. It provides workers to prevent firms from leaving our region. It keeps our training centers and schools vital. It keeps young people interested in manufacturing careers. It promotes a sense of pride within our workforce.
It sure does.
It allows families and marriages more stability. And it helps families buy homes, not just dream of them.
So I think one of the things that we could do as manufacturing leaders, and Jim, maybe you and I need to talk about this. I mean, and we could talk to Kurt about this too. Is let's put together a presentation that they can just grab from us and bring it to their schools and present it, because it's as simple as saying this is your perception, or you don't even understand manufacturing, but this is what it really is. And any CEO of a manufacturing company out there could make that presentation, but we need to get boots on the street locally all across the United States to be able to do that. So, I mean, if the Metalworking Nation is out there listening and you would like something like that, if we can help in that, let us know.
Well, especially with Manufacturing Day fast approaching in October, and I'm not sure of what day it is in October, but that would be the perfect time, not necessarily the only time. You could do it any time during the year, but that would be the perfect time to coordinate
Yes, good idea.
that all together.
Absolutely.
So guys, the industry has evolved so much, at least since 1973 when my dad founded our family machine shop in Chicago. The industry now is just so widely technological. Is that what is attracting this new group of talent and students to our industry? If not, what is it? What do you think it is? Because I think that if we recognize what that shiny object is that's attracting everyone to the thing, it's kind of like a marketing plan, right? So we need to identify what those characteristics are that are attracting these students. We know all about that a lot of the shop owners are paying for the tuition for them to go to the NTMA Training Center. There's no debt when they come out. They're making money while they train, and then certainly as their skill evolves, they're really going way up on the income level.
So you're asking, like, what is that student get excited about?
What is that shiny object that they see at the end of the tunnel? I don't know what it is. I'm not 19 anymore. I just got into the industry because my dad said, why don't you do it? And I said, I looked at his career and I said, he's got a pretty good life. If I can do half as good, I'll be happy. So what do you think that shiny object is that these young people nowadays are being attracted to in our industry?
Well, I think it definitely is helped by the technology and some of the exciting things that are happening in advancements in that area. But I still think it's a lot of the same way, like with you, it's a family. If you're brought up in it, and then you know about it. It's how I was introduced to manufacturing. It goes back to my great-grandfather in 1938 that started the metal stamping and chrome plating factory in Vernon that my grandfather and my father and I myself worked at. And but what's exciting now is the robotics programs that are in high schools that are, I think, getting more of an introduction to young people, that there is stuff getting made out there in the world, but I still don't think they're connecting the dots to let them know that there's careers out there where they can go and have a meaningful career as a machinist or in a technical career in manufacturing. I still think the high schools are dropping the ball there a lot and teaching kids that the only avenue is a 4-year bachelor's degree and not. So they're just not. I think there's more education about letting them know that kids that are interested in that kind of stuff can get started more quickly.
Yeah, Kurt, what do you think? What's that shiny? What's that shiny thing that they're looking at?
I agree. Just the automation of it all, just
like
CNC,
robotics,
robotics, CNC machining, just all that. I mean, when they see something being made by a 5-axis CNC machine,
it's pretty cool.
It is. Hey, it blows me away.
Me too.
I've been in this trade a long time, and stuff comes up, and I look at it and go, "Wow, that's amazing!" And when you see that, and you see these objects being made, it's just. I think they get excited. The conventional side of it, conventional machining, that's old school.
Are you teaching conventional machining here?
Well, we teach. Oh yeah, we have to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we walked right by it.
Yeah, we have mills and lathes, and that's because we want to teach them how something's made, and then they can take that, and then they can tell the machine how to make that. They have to know how it's made before they can tell the machine how to make it.
Now, I've heard different theories on that. I've heard the theory that start them out in the software. Start them off the CAD/CAM software and then move them over to the CNC machine, and they don't necessarily have to learn the manual machines first.
Yeah, I'm not agree. I don't know. It's like it just gives a person an idea that they can do anything. It's like, I'm going to drill a really tiny hole 5 inches deep. Well, that's not going to happen.
No, you're going to have to put a lot of pressure on that drill on the quill before and you better tighten up the quill stop a little bit because it's going to want to
exactly
dig back a little bit.
And those techniques, it applies to CNC.
Right.
And it's like an engineer. If you don't know machining, here, make that. really. They don't
Or
know if
just
it
like
can be made.
Or like a manual peck, you're doing it on the quill, you're going down and you're creating the chip, and then boom, you pop it a little bit to break the chip. They're doing the same thing with the G81 on a CNC
Exactly.
machine.
Exactly.
So yeah, I get it. I get it.
And we spend, we go about maybe 12, 15 weeks on the conventional side, and we start prepping them for the CNC. It's all prep towards CNC. Everything we do, obviously, from the step one.
So what is the track here? Are they learning? So they're starting off in the manuals, and then they're moving to CNC.
Correct.
Are they also learning robotics?
We show them robotics, but we're not heavy into the robotics right now.
Okay. Is that something that you're looking to for the future?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we always do. And we do touch on certain subjects, but our main focus is the nucleus of machining, which is what we do.
And what is that exactly?
Turning and milling.
Okay.
That's the two
the fundamentals.
That's the fundamentals.
Yeah.
And our whole purpose here is our mission is to prepare qualified candidates for entry-level jobs.
Okay.
So, and 7 months, you talk to anybody that's been in the field a long time, 7 months you're not a machinist after 7 months.
They are not a machinist after 7 months.
It's just a start.
But they're
Heck
done.
no.
They're done with your training after a 7-month period of time.
Correct. And we do have
is
extra
that like in the evenings, or is that?
Oh, it's three sessions.
I was going to ask that question. You took it
Go ahead,
right out of
Jim.
my mouth.
It's 5 days a week, and we have 3 sessions available: morning, afternoon, and evening.
Gotcha. And how many hours a day?
4.5.
4.5 hours a day. And for 7 months, and then they come out with the certificate that says they're
a certificate of completion.
Okay, gotcha.
And then we have career services, lifetime support on that. We prep them for job interviews. We don't, and like anything else, we don't guarantee anyone a job. I mean, if you don't want to work, you won't work. And so, our students, we tell them that. I mean, if you don't want to work, you're not going to find a job. But if
just like if you don't want to eat, you're not going to eat, right?
That's right.
If you're not aggressively, or you're not, if you don't want it, you're not going to get it,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
You have to want
we
something.
supply the opportunity.
Yes.
We give them interviews and this, and we'll send you wherever for life.
Right.
But if you walk in that interview and you just don't want to answer the question, that's on you.
Well, what does a typical student look like? Are they 18 years old, in their 20s? You get some people coming back that want to have a career change?
We get all that.
Okay.
We really do. It runs the gamut. I've seen guys retired.
Is it that diverse?
Just wanted to do something different.
It's that diverse.
Yeah.
Do you see different challenges with somebody that's, say like
my
35 or 40 or 60 and wants to get trained in something new versus the student that's, 18 or 19 years old?
It varies because there's sometimes if you're a little more mature, I think you take it a little more seriously because your mindset, you got work ethic. I think the younger people that come in here, they want to do it. I just it varies. I think our age group fluctuation is between 25 and 32 or so, in that area is most of our students.
Yeah. So tell me, is the continuing training here at the NTMA, is it only exclusive to NTMA members, or if I had a shop here in Santa Fe Springs and I was not an NTMA member, could I take advantage of sending one of my new hires?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not exclusive to members only.
Oh, no.
Is it a higher rate? Is it a higher book rate for that student to be trained here, or is there a discount for members?
Well, if you're in the industry, we have the extra training programs. If you're in the industry, we have classes like CNC, Mastercam, Basic Mastercam, Advanced Mastercam Inspection. Those courses are available for people that are already in the industry.
Okay.
And they're only like 18 weeks.
I see.
That's a whole different program.
Okay.
The 7-month is open to whoever.
Anybody.
Yeah.
What are you seeing that are the employers typically paying for these students' training costs?
The manufacturing leaders are listening to making chips, and they have an untapped workforce out there. So I think setting that expectation, like should they be expected to pay for that education? What do you do when that person gets that training and they say, well, I'm going to leave and go somewhere else? Do you see some of those things happening sometimes?
I think that on the machinist training program, that's 7 months, we don't see a lot of employers paying for that, no.
Okay.
But the extra training courses, that's where we see more of that.
Okay. What are those extra training courses? You said inspection,
Mastercam, programming, CNC, and yeah.
What do you see as the future in the training? Is there any kind of trends that you see where people are getting trained more in a particular area than they had in the past? Like one of the things that we've discussed before is more Swiss training. You guys, is that
we
something?
don't do Swiss training, but we I think Mastercam is our software training is our biggest.
That's one of your most growing.
It's probably in my opinion, and we use Mastercam in my shop, but it's probably the most powerful cam system on the market now, and it's probably the most widely used.
Yeah, that's why
across the industry.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
We have we do also do like CMM courses. That's that's popular too.
So you have a CMM here on site too?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And so then that's popular as well.
Hey, I wanted to go back to your question about the demographics, the ages of the people that are getting into these careers. So, from my perspective, the scholarships that we're giving, they're going to young people, which is very exciting. These are people just starting their careers, and that's what we're really excited about. And we've given, so far, in our short time of existence, 3 scholarships to young people that were students here at the training center, 2 scholarships to students at Mount Sac Community College, 2 scholarships at Glendale Community College, and 3 scholarships at Long Beach City College. And overwhelmingly, these are young people that are beginning their careers that are applying for these scholarships and that we're helping get started in pursuing a career in manufacturing.
Lee, what are the prerequisites to get these scholarships?
That's an excellent question. So the grants, they're for expenses incurred by students, which may be tuition, materials, or living costs, and the student must be currently enrolled in a recognized program. So it has to be a technical track in a community college or some type of technical school. They have to use the funds within 6 months.
In 6 months they got to use it.
And they need to be located in Southern California, and they need to be looking for
Oxnard
a career
to San
in manufacturing.
Diego.
Yes.
Okay.
So all they need to do really is just go to our website, camworkforce.org, and they can apply for the scholarships right there.
Cool. What are you seeing? What are the expectations of these students that are in these programs? I mean, you've got a young 18, 19-year-old that's just starting on his career track. He's here learning because somebody told him that this is a great opportunity, that he's just ripe for this industry. You're talking, you're engaging, you have FaceTime with these young people. What do you hear? What are the expectations? What do they think is going to happen after these 7 months? Do they think they're going to make $100,000 a year in the next 2 years? Or do they think they're going to is it going to be a cakewalk? What are you hearing from them? What's the feedback?
Well, I think the biggest thing is they know there's a lot of work out there. And
potential.
Yes.
Yes.
And we don't really get lost. We tell them right up, you're starting out.
Right.
You're not going to walk out of here making $100K. It ain't going to happen. But they're excited about the future. They can see that machining has such a high ceiling as far as wages go that, you could just take it as far as you want to take it. And so I think that's kind of important. And I think that they get excited. The whole thing about machining is the cool factors too, as well, so.
I think the NTMA Training Centers do a great job of setting the expectations of their students so that when they come out into the workforce and are applying for jobs and they help place all their students in jobs and have, I think, a really high placement rate, right? Like it's in the 90%.
Oh, yeah, and it's like I said before, if you
it's like everyone who wants a job that goes through the program gets one, pretty much, right?
Wow.
And but they do a great job of setting that expectation where when the employers interview the applicants, they're on the same page pretty much about what the wages are to start out in the industry and what their expectation is of what they're going to be able to accomplish. I think they're just really excited to get started on their career and start building their life. And they can see that, while maybe we're not talking, like $100,000 starting wages, they're seeing a real wage and a real opportunity to grow and develop in an industry
and
that can be a
it
career.
certainly is attainable, right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Right. It's just not attainable in year 2. Maybe
like anything
unless
worth
they're a
doing
rock
in life,
star.
it takes work.
It takes work. There's no golden parachute for it right away.
So, gentlemen, that was great. That was a great introduction to what you guys are doing in order to get trained the next generation and really show the United States that you don't have to go that college route. You can, or you can do them both together, but there's a lot of options out there, and I think certainly becoming trained in CNC is a great option. So thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to meet you guys and share your insight and knowledge with the Metalworking Nation, and I hope that we've genuinely equipped and inspired some new manufacturing leaders to follow in our footsteps and bring the industry to the next level.
So, Jim, I think you need to make a presentation at your local high school.
I really think I am. I know where
need
to
more people, don't you?
I do need more people, and it's funny. You were reading my mind. What do you know? That I need to do that, and I probably need to do that for manufacturing.
So
Day
why
in
don't we
October.
come up with a presentation? And if
Can you
the
do that, please?
manufacturing leaders out there,
You got more time
on
on your hands than me.
Do I?
Yes, you do. Yeah, I think so. But no, I'll help you with it. Absolutely. Or we can delegate and elevate. Right?
You're hilarious.
Yes, I know.
But yeah, I think we should do that. I think the manufacturing leaders out there, if you've made that presentation, maybe we'll talk to Kurt and see what he presents, because I think that if we can get a tsunami of manufacturing leaders out there to contact their middle schools, contact their high schools, and say, I want to talk to your students about one of the biggest industries here in the United States and one of the highest paying industries where you don't have to go to college in order to make 6 figures eventually. I think that they would be open to that.
Sure. So how do people get in touch with these
us?
gentlemen, with us?
Subscribe to The Boring Bar.
And how do they do that?
They text CHIPS to 38470, or they can email us at info@makingchips.com, and you and I will get a copy of that. And we would love to hear back about what you're doing in your local community in order to change the perception of manufacturing.
Absolutely. We got to start making more chips, because
If you're not educating the next generation,
you're not making money.
bam.
Bam.